and repeats itself for frames 6 through 10, so you each bowl 2 frames total, and this is a best of 7 game match for the national championship. And we are ready to get underway. Megan Kelly from Fairleigh Dickinson, senior, will lead off. That was a moment ago while we were in break. She did pick up that spare. And now let's head out to live action with Paula Villas, the senior from the Dominican Republic, the only senior for Maryland Eastern Shore, who, and you can tell right away, Carolyn, she's known not only as a great bowler, but for her hair. Her hair is always a big mystery.
They want to compare it to last year's hairstyle. They said this one's a little more wild.
And she strikes. Villas last year, if you watched us, went with the maroon and gray mohawk. I think this hairstyle is working pretty nicely right away.
Paula has a great style. She's one of the players that has a little more of a high rev rate, so she's able to open up the lane. Here's
Michelle Hunziker, sophomore from Cary, North Carolina, a 2-time state champion in that state. And a great weekend. And a strike for Hunziker. She had bowled a season-high 267 in Thursday's action here and starts off the championship with a strike.
Very traditional style, very straight, down and in, right into the pocket, playing around that 9-10 board. And as you can see by her reaction, it was perfect.
So 2 strikes and a spare to start this championship, Carolyn. They're ready. Megan Buja, sophomore from Rockford, Illinois. Second team all MEAC, which is the conference Maryland Eastern Shore is in. Another strike.
Both these teams were warming up earlier, and they played further right in their practice just to get a feel for the lane and get their lines the way they wanted them to be. And as you can see, they're playing pretty straight up the lane, get it out to about that 8 board. And there's plenty of hook right there to get it back to the pocket.
Over to Fairleigh Dickinson, Liette Wiesenfeld, freshman from Israel. And she strikes. We are seeing collegiate bowling at the highest level here to start this opening game.
Another good shot. She's playing a little further in around that 11 board. With the oil pattern, there's a little hold there, so the ball doesn't go high. She got a great result.
Mariana Alvarado, just a freshman from Mexico, but the MEAC Rookie of the Year. This is Angie Ramirez. Check that. Switch the lineup. Ramirez from Bogota, Colombia, and she strikes. The result stays the same. A turkey to start the match for Maryland Eastern Shore. 3 straight strikes.
I think they're looking for a repeat.
I think so. The defending national champions last year winning it. Fairleigh Dickinson won it 2 years ago when it was close to home in New Jersey. This is Jolie Carrillo, one of the 2 seniors for Fairleigh Dickinson. And she strikes. I tell you, folks, it's usually not this easy.
Bowling is definitely not that easy. Trust me. They're making really good shots. Of course, Fairleigh Dickinson had to bowl earlier today, so they are still pumped up from bowling so good this morning, and here they are just continuing it.
So no worry of fatigue then, having bowled this morning. As we see Mariano Alvarado now. She will bowl in the 4th spot, freshman from Mexico. And she strikes. Maryland Eastern Shore has rolled 4 straight strikes.
Playing the deepest of all the girls, hitting about that 12 board out to 8, creating a little area. Great shot. So that tells us this pattern can be attacked from 2 different areas.
Here's the National Bowler of the Year, Danielle McEwen. Leaves 1 standing to break the string of strikes for Fairleigh Dickinson. It was the same pin Megan Kelly had to pick up in the first frame. Bowler of the year lets it fly and picks up the spare. So we've completed one rotation here for Fairleigh Dickinson. 2 spares and 3 strikes. Maryland Eastern Shore has had 4 straight strikes as we go to their anchor, Tania Falbo. And I know Falbo was a bowler that you were high on. She's not the bowler of the year in the nation, but she was in the MEAC.
Right, and like I said, she is the one that, she is their most consistent. She is the one you want there. She can get herself where she needs to be to lead the team and make the shots.
How about this start for the defending national champion Maryland Eastern Shore Lady Hawks? 5 straight strikes. Falbo completes the 5th strike in a row for Maryland Eastern Shore. We're midway through the first game. We'll return in a moment. Is going to tie Nebraska for the most NCAA bowling championships. This title has been going on since 2004. Fairleigh Dickinson and Maryland Eastern Shore, each with 2. Fairleigh Dickinson, by the way, has never lost a championship match. Each time they've advanced here in 2006 and 2010, the Knights have won the title, but it is Maryland Eastern Shore up by 21 pins here as we head into the 6th frame, and the leadoff bowler for Fairleigh Dickinson, Megan Kelly. She has been coming off the bench this year, but Mike Lepresti decided to start her in the leadoff role. A strike and a spare to start.
Gets out of the ball real quick. She's playing right up the lane. Hits about that 12 board, which once again shows you there's that little bit of hold area in the middle part of the lane, and she takes advantage of it. She is one of their most consistent bowlers. That's why she's in that leadoff position.
And you see how consistent Villas was Thursday. Thursday's the qualifying round, which means all 8 teams compete against each other, and the total pins decide who gets seeded when we get to bracket play, which started yesterday, and then it's double elimination. Villas leaves 1. She'll have that to pick up for her spare.
Paula has a great game, like I said. She's got that hand that gives it a little more rotation, where she can get, you know, a little more of the area on the lane, play around where she gets the ball to the right, gets the ball to come back into the pocket. But she has really, over the last few years, gained control of her game. Used to be a little more wild. Now she really has come around to be an all-around bowler.
2-time All-American, and she knew it when it left her hand. So Villas picks up the spare for Maryland Eastern Shore. That is the first time tonight the Hawks have not had a strike. How about that confidence?
I like her. She's spunky.
I love it, yeah. Fantastic. Hunziker from Cary, North Carolina. Again, a lot of talent, but in the 2 position because of her inexperience. And strikes.
Inexperienced, but making great shots when she gets up there. That's the key to her style. Mike spoke about her traditional style. She just gets there, gets in position, takes her approach, gets the ball off her hand. Doesn't do anything fancy, but very easy to change on the lane if she needs to make an adjustment.
Megan Bouja up next for Maryland Eastern Shore. 4.0 GPA. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to pick up.
Ball came in just a little bit high into the pocket. Thought, you know, could get away with a 4-pin here, but just a little bit too high. Leaves the 4-10.
How do you go about picking this up, Carolyn?
She's going to need to hit the left side of that 4-pin and slide it over into the 10. She's going to change to a ball that doesn't hook. Throw a little more straight at the pin and hopefully hit it right where she needs to.
She went for the 4 only. And that's the first open frame for Maryland Eastern Shore. And it brings Fairleigh Dickinson right back into this game. Heading into the 8th frame, Liat Wiesenfeld from Israel, an older freshman because she had to spend 2 years of military service in the Israeli army. And leaves the 10. That's a popular pin that has been left standing tonight, Carolyn.
Everybody has made great shots. I mean, really, they have broken the lanes down to where they have just a little bit of area to the right and they have hole to the left. I mean, you can't ask for anything more than that. And they are taking advantage of it and making good shots.
This for a spare. And Wiesenfeld just misses to the left. So that open frame could come back to haunt Fairleigh Dickinson. That's one of the things you don't want to leave an open frame.
Especially after the opposing team just opened. That's really when you want to jump on that open frame and take advantage of it to get your team going.
Angie Ramirez, a featured video blogger on NCAA.com. I've watched some of her work. She's talented in filming the team's travels, their workouts, their practices. It's a behind-the-scenes look the NCAA has put on its website. And Ramirez starts way out to the left. Gonna have a couple of pins to pick up for this spare.
She got this ball way left of where she's been playing. Comes up light.
And she is a lefty. Any difference in these lanes for the lefties, Carolyn?
I was just going to say, you know, she's kind of out there by herself. I mean, they have another left-hander on the team, but basically there's only 2 of them that broke down the lane. So that's either going to be an advantage or it's not, depending on how you broke down the lane. Now, they all played further left, so I would say she's probably going to have the same look that the right-handers have, maybe just a little bit further to the left, and it should hold up for the match.
Ramirez picks up the spare. Ramirez from Colombia. Her mother was a national volleyball team member. She's turned her attention to bowling. Jolie Carrillo up next for Fairleigh Dickinson. 3.5 GPA in nursing. And she strikes. Carrillo, a member of the 2010 NCAA championship team.
Light pocket hit, couple of pins just waiting there at the end. I'm not sure she was really sure either that pin was going to go down, but it did.
Mike Lepresti in his 9th season, last year's National Coach of the Year. He's taken this team to 2 NCAA titles. He's also a social studies teacher. And Alvarado will have that for a spare. Maryland Eastern Shore clinging to a slight lead here in the 9th frame.
Got this way right. She's been getting it out to about 8. She got that one out to about 6. Did not quite come back. 2-4-10. She needs to hit to the left of that 2 pin. Hopefully get a little help going across the lane.
Doesn't get the help, but picks up 2 of the 3. Interesting story here. Christina Fromm is attempting to win the NCAA championship as a player last year and then this year as a coach. as she took over for the legendary Sharon Brunell, who went to Georgetown to take a position there. Danielle McEwen. And both teams have cooled off here toward the end of this first game.
That changes the match. Yep, it's coming down to the 10th frame. If she got good count and marked, or I should say had a mark, she basically just needed to get good count on her fill to win this first match. But by this open, she opens the door for Maryland Eastern Shore.
So an open frame in the 10th as the National Bowler of the Year struggling here. So what needs to happen here for Maryland Eastern Shore's Tania Falbo?
We need a mark. I shouldn't say we, but I feel like I'm out there with them. They just bring you into the match. She needs to mark here in the 10th to win this first match.
Interesting you said we, because Christina Fromm, who's now the coach, was bowling in this last year. She said that's the most frustrating thing for her is not being able to get out here with them.
It's amazing, and you know, the thing is, now being a coach, you have to keep that relationship. As I'm not a player, I'm the coach. I have to remember where I'm at.
Maryland Eastern Shore trying to wrap up this first game in the championship. Falbo will do it. A strike for Falbo. And that's going to be the clincher. Christina Fromm was named the interim head coach. Still technicality here for Falbo. She's got 2 more rolls.
Now there's a decision here to be made. They've won the match. She threw a great shot. She's lined up. She could move somewhere else on the lane just to see what's out there on the lane, for as the lanes break down, you get a feel for what it is. So we'll have to see what she does here on this shot.
And again, your individual score doesn't matter in this format, but she doesn't want to lose any momentum. She went right after it. Falbo will have 1 more shot, as this just pads the victory margin for Maryland Eastern Shore. Maryland Eastern Shore has not lost since we went into bracket play yesterday. Well, all the headlines were about Fairleigh Dickinson's anchor, Danielle McEwen, the National Bowler of the Year, but I tell you, Tania Falbo is right up there with her in the first game of this NCAA championship. Maryland Eastern Shore clinches the first game in this best-of-7 NCAA championship.